Kelley. Kelley has a quality assurance background in both hardware and software. In her spare time, she enjoys experimenting with baking, and we're going to hear all about it. I need to give this to you and not take it back to us.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to talk to you about my great cookie experiment. I decided to experiment with chocolate chip cookies because who doesn't like chocolate chip cookies? If you don't like chocolate chip cookies, just leave. So, just a quick summary. This is what I'm going to go through. I'll talk a bit about paleo because that's kind of my goal that I'm aiming for with the baking. Basic recipes that I chose, the substitutions. I went with egg, sugar, and flour as the ones. Summary of my findings. So, a quick summary on paleo. Paleo is grain-free, dairy-free, sort of with some exceptions if you count ghee. You can ask me about that later. No legumes, and low to no processing. So trying to get as close to real food as possible. The two recipes that I went through, number 2 pencil had one that was just for a single serving, so you got basically 2 big cookies out of it. But I ended up with all these egg whites left over, so I found a different recipe and I just cut it into 8s. And those are what the 2 cookies look like. You'll notice that the one, and they were both delicious, the one with just the egg yolks had a flat center, but otherwise they tasted really good. So most of the time they were actually picked as the best flavor from, because I always had the original next to the substitution, and this was generally the best choice. Egg, the importance of an egg is it binds your ingredients together. It gives you a bit of leavening, so height, and moisture, and an egg is about 1/4 cup. So that's what we need to substitute. And these are the possibilities. I chose chia and banana as my top 2. So with the chia egg, you have some chia seeds. In this case, I didn't grind them. I just left them whole. I soaked them for 15 minutes in some water, and it's the same equivalent volume as the egg. It made puffy. It was a bit of crunchy seed and a nutty flavor. The banana, this was really cool. They said it was a banana bread cookie. I had people helping me. They said a banana bread cookie, but no, it's definitely a cookie, not bready. Really yummy. So we have these 2 cookies. They're a little bit different. What did we come to the decision of? Which one was better? We couldn't decide. They were just too different. So if you get a chance, the banana you should at least try. It was quite cool. I think I will do that one again. Maybe next time I'll try grinding up the chia seeds instead of leaving them whole, although the texture was cool. Sugar. What does sugar do? It gives us some texture. It also can add a little bit of leavening. It deepens the color. It adds crunch. It's pretty neat what it does. So here are some options that we could have used. I chose honey and I chose dates. And I happen to have granulated honey at home, which I thought would be handy because then I wouldn't have to worry about adding too much moisture. I read online that I should use 3/4, but then it wasn't as sweet, so I used the full amount. So the darker one is the full amount. It had a similar texture to chia, and then it had honey aftertaste. The date paste was weird. It's basically just water and dates ground up. And then it turned into this scone type thing because the sugar doesn't melt, it doesn't spread out like the other one does. So it was a bit bland. So honey definitely won in this case because it still had the flavor you were expecting, especially after testing the original. The date paste, I used a baking date, so maybe if I try a different type of date next time, it might add a little bit more sweetness, but you'll still get that sort of bread texture. Flour is very important. It gives you texture, it gives strength to your items, and I broke it down into 3 types. Grains with gluten, grains without gluten, and then grain-free, gluten-free, which is kind of implied. But I happen to have some gluten-free all-purpose mix around, and I used that, and it gave a shiny cookie. And it had a bit of a nutty flavor, not quite as sweet, and it kind of stuck to the roof of your mouth, and it had a bit of an aftertaste, probably because it had baking soda in it, and I didn't notice till after. So too much baking soda. This I mixed myself based on a calculated risk recipe, and it kind of turned into almost like a peanut butter cookie, because it kind of had an orange color, but then it was like a macaroon. It was crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside, if you know what a French macaroon's like. Gluten-free went out on this one because it tasted more like the original. The other one was kind of strange. It was almost marshmallowy, so a little odd. I might play with that a bit more, see if I can get a better balance. So, in summary, the originals were the best. We couldn't decide between the two eggs because they were just too different. Granulated honey was quite delicious. And the gluten-free flour went out despite the odd aftertaste. So, conclusions. More testing required, definitely, if you want to come over and taste them. The banana egg was fun. I might try the vegetable dates. Flour was super important. People had more to say about flour than any other substitution. And I'd like to try and see if I can do full substitution at some point. Thank you very much for your time. Have a delicious day.